So the clock is ticking for Republicans to get wins in their legislative agenda, but some of the biggest ticket items, health care, tax reform, and the budget, they're completely stalled. So when are things going to get moving around here? Well, joining me now, it's Wisconsin Congressman Sean Duffy. He's a member of the House Moderate Tuesday group and the husband of Fox News contributor and my former MTV partner in crime, Rachel Campos Duffy. Welcome back to the show, Sean.
Hey, it's good to be with you, Kennedy, and I'm also one of the conservative RSC members as well. That was a great intro, Kennedy. Thank you. Good to be with you.
Sorry about the pointed insults, but you understand, people aren't thrilled with Congress right now. You've had all the opportunity in the world and all the time to come up with a great alternative to Obamacare, but this whole thing smells.
Now, give me 1 second to tell you to hold up for a moment. You and I have been talking in the past, and you were chirping at me saying the House can't get its act together, it can't pass a bill, and you were off, coming at us House members, and guess what? We got a product out of the House.
Yeah.
So now we're in the Senate, right?
Yeah.
The Senate has to pass a bill, and you think a break is bad to pass Senate health care. I think a break to go home for the 4th of July and let these Republican senators get totally lit up by their constituents is a great thing. It's a motivator. They'll come back after this break and go, my God, I got to get something done on health care because my constituents are absolutely livid. And my hope, Kennedy, is it's not just Republican senators. You have to go, when does American Republicans and independents who have been crushed by Obamacare look to Democrats who gave us this horrible law and go, I'm going to hold them accountable too? Why do they sit on the sidelines chewing their nails, doing nothing? They should be part of the solution. Instead of saying single payer, try to get a market system to work in health care so it's Republicans and Democrats that are going to get blitzed over the 4th of July.
I wish it were a market system. It's not a market system. It's a Medicaid system, and it's a tax subsidy system. That's what it is. It's not a market-based system at all. It's got the same structures, the same pillars that Obamacare had, and that's why, I mean, believe it or not, according to the latest Fox News poll, which we're going to talk about with the panel in just a little bit, the Senate version is less popular than the House version. It's pretty incredible. So let's say that the Senate bill either fails to make it through the Senate or it gets to you and your party people in the House and it dies there. What happens to tax reform if health care dies?
Tax reform dies as well, Kennedy.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys can't do tax reform if you don't fix health care?
Yeah, so we're using budget reconciliation. I don't want to get in the weeds with you, but budget reconciliation that allows us to use only 51 votes in the Senate means that there's certain rules around it. So in budget reconciliation, for every tax dial I move down, I have to move another tax dial up. So I use $1 trillion of Obamacare taxes to move those tax dials down by $1 trillion. We use a border adjustment tax to move them down another $1 trillion. But if you don't give me $1 trillion out of repealing and replacing Obamacare, I can't get tax reform done unless the Senate does away with the filibuster rule. Then we can have wholesale tax reform. There's no revenue neutral rules that are at play.
Yeah, the revenue neutrality, I agree with you. The revenue neutrality is awful. The border adjustment tax, it's not popular with the White House or economists or rational breathing people. The only people who like it are you and Paul Ryan.
Well, so hold on a second. So if you can figure out another way where you're going to get me $1 trillion of revenue so I can lower taxes, I'm all about hearing it. Or if you can help me sell the Senate to get rid of the filibuster rule, I'll do that too.
How about cutting spending?
Without those two, that's not revenue neutral. We're talking about a tax bill.
I know,
that's
revenue neutrality is ridiculous. It really is, because it's literally robbing Peter to pay Paul. It is a shell game. So and it does a great disservice to the economy and to voters.
So you didn't make those rules, nor did I, but we have a majority in the Senate. All you need is 51 Republican senators to change this rule, and we can have wholesale tax reform before health care reform.
So basically, if health care fails, and there's such a razor-thin margin right now, it's not gaining popularity with moderates like yourself or...
I'm not a moderate, come on.
Aren't you a member of the Tuesday group?
I'm part of RSC, which is a conservative group, Kennedy.
Are you a member of the Tuesday group?
I'm a member of a lot of groups, Kennedy. Conservatives, more independent-minded people. I represent my folks in central and northern Wisconsin. But with that said, Kennedy,
the good thing is you don't sell it like a politician.
Right. Thanks. I appreciate that. Talking about turkey and cold cuts and 4th of July. Come on.
Sean, you have a sense of humor. I know you love this country. I know you take your job very seriously. I also know that we could be in some economic deep yogurt if we don't get some of these things fixed. So
I totally agree.
I want your word that you are going to fight for more free market solutions that increase freedom and choice in this country, from healthcare to education.
Kennedy, I have 8 kids. I miss baseball games and hockey practices and tennis matches because I'm out here fighting for free enterprise and free markets. I want to give more control to our states and to our families. That's why I take time away from my children. And I promise you, if I wasn't going to do that, there's no reason for me to be here. I am in that fight wholeheartedly. I'm frustrated by the process. I'm frustrated by the Senate. But I'm doing all I can as a conservative Wisconsin legislator to make this country better off for the next generation, so they can inherit what you and I inherited after that great MTV generation that we both participated in.
That's absolutely right. Sean Duffy, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks,
Please give love to your wife and your family. Happy 4th of July.
Absolutely. Happy 4th.
Thanks, man.